Alright guys, what's up? Cards here, and today I told you guys we're going to be mixing it up a little bit. Today I'm going to be bringing you some Total Extreme Wrestling 2020. If you're not familiar with it, it's just a wrestling booking simulator for the most part. I know that a lot of people do TEW streams and videos, and like they've got this great in-depth storyline that they like read to you over the screen or something like that. That's not how I play Total Extreme Wrestling. I like to play it as just a roster simulator, just like any other sports management game. I'm trying to develop stars. I'm trying to have successful wrestlers, book successful matches, and get ratings and get big. I'm not telling a story. So if you're checking out the stream and you're looking for a story, there's a lot of other people that are doing that. What I'm going to do, first of all, since this is one of our first streams on Total Extreme Wrestling, I want to give you all a little bit of just a look around the Cornellverse. This is the default database in the game. It's great. It's so deep. I really enjoy it. This is what I enjoy playing. I know a lot of people like to play the real world mods and sort of redo things that they think WWE did wrong, or they want to try to save ECW, save WCW, or maybe now AEW is the popular thing. And that's great. There's all those mods out there. If you like wrestling and you want to try this out and you need a real world mod, it's out there, I promise you. It's just not what we're doing here. I'm booking the CVerse. I like the fictional characters because, it's not like I'm deviating from what happened in real life. I don't have to have what happened in real life. I don't have to measure against it at all. I can just play and do it the way that I want to and build it the way that I want to. So that's what I've done here. I've been playing this game for a while. I've had it as far back as TCW 2010. I always used to play MAW, Mid-Atlantic Wrestling, which was a developmental for TCW. And I really liked some of the older rosters. And obviously they had great CVerse wrestlers on there. And what I wanted to do when I came into TCW was, first of all, my priority was to rebuild that old second gen stable that MAW used to have with Jay Cord, Hollywood Brett Starr, Casey Valentine, and Cam Vesey. So that was my priority. And what I've done along the way is sort of rebuild all the rest of MAW from that time period. So you can see here in game, I'm in week 3 of February 2021. So I'm about 13 months into this save. And if you check out my roster, I've still got the original, the guys that are stars when TCW starts, still got them. So I've still got Erin Andrews, I've still got Wolf Hawkins, Sammy Bach, and who else is a star right off the bat? Oh, Jay Cord. So I've still got all those guys, but I've definitely added. So you can see here, I have brought in Cam Vesey and Casey Valentine. I've also brought in, where is he? Hollywood Brett Starr. So I have successfully recreated that. Of course, Greg Gage is already on the roster when you start the game. But just for good measure, I've gone ahead and added Matthew Keith. His contract actually, I don't think has started. Yeah, so his doesn't start for 2 more weeks. I just signed him very recently. I also signed Bulldozer Brandon Smith, and his contract starts tomorrow. Now, I do have a brand split going on, so I reactivated the Saturday night show that they had. And actually, in May of the first year, leading up to my biggest pay-per-view of the year, I got kicked off of the Ace Network. I still didn't really know the product. I didn't know my roster. And I was booking just terrible shows, and I got kicked off the Ace Network. Lucky for me, it was still fairly early on into TEW's release, so I was able to create my own network and get back up on the air relatively cheaply. So I've got a nice big network going on, making good money. So I put that Saturday night show on my own network, obviously, but it's a B show, so it's not affecting my popularity. So I will have a show in a couple of days here. All that to say, my Tuesday night show is still my A show, so Bulldozer's going to be over there. He'll be available for my next A show. Let's see, who else have I brought in? It might be easier to just take a look at contracts. Now, don't judge me for how much I paid some of these guys. And I just had to re-sign Sammy Bach, and that was costly. but he's still not in time decline, and he's amazing. So you can see here, I've got those original 4 guys, plus Greg Gage has worked his way up to be a major star. I brought in Froschur. He's always one of my indie hires, so he's up here as a star. I pushed Ed Stone up. Brett Starr, obviously, he came back over from SWF, very well known. Bulldozer's going to be well known. I've got quite a bit of baby faces right up here, and then a whole bunch of heels down in here. So I do need to either rework this. I might need to rework it a little bit, but I did just flip. It was worse than this before I started streaming. I just recently flipped Brandon Smith. He was a heel, so this was even worse. This balances it out just a little bit. You can see here I also signed Des Davids. I also brought in Emily McQueen. I brought in Mainstream Hernandez, and I brought in Rick Law. And along with all that, T-Bone Bright is getting crazy popular. So you can see Cam Vesey is lower on here, and that's just because he's just recently started wrestling in the States. He was up in Canada. They didn't have any television coverage in the States, so I'm having to build him up from the 30s. But he's such a good worker, it's happening very quickly, so I'm not really concerned about that at all. Let me get my chat up over here on my other device. I forgot to do that before we got going today. I just want to make sure that I can reach out and chat with you guys as we go through this. There we go. Alright, so as for the rest of my roster, I haven't let too many people go. Ed Peak did get signed away from me. There's a couple of other guys, mostly just guys in time decline. If any of you guys are familiar with this universe, with TCW's product, most of their guys are in time decline when you very first start out. So a lot of those guys I've sort of set down, and I'm letting them train up the younger guys. So I've pushed a lot of them off to my B show, and I'm letting them train the younger guys. So when we get down into those younger guys, I do already have Logan Wolfsbane built up to be recognizable, so I could totally put him on TV right now, no problem. Most of the rest of them are unimportant. So you can see a lot of these guys down here, unimportant, I've signed. Bret Heartbreak, here's some of the older fellas. I did bring in Deanna Desire. She's a really good manager. I've got her matched up with T-Bone Bright right now. They're doing great work. You can see the handful of guys I brought in. Probably all the usual suspects for anybody jumping into this game. Will Beaumont's on here, obviously, face of the future. Now, one thing, if any of you guys are TCW fans or TEW fans at all, you're probably going to be jealous and assume that I probably hacked the game to do this. I assure you I didn't. It wouldn't be any fun that way. Like I said, I just like to do roster management and kind of see what happens. This happened naturally. Check out Wolf Hawkins. Look what skill he added. Amazing babyface. This dude does not start out with that skill. He comes with amazing heel, but he does not have the amazing babyface. So once he added that attribute, guess who I set up as my figurehead? So that's been going on for about 3 or 4 months now. We can actually check it out. If we bounce in here, so 4 months and 1 week at this point. So we still got a while before he gets settled in, but you can see great star quality, charismatic, just about over enough, and amazing babyface. That's really all that you need in a figurehead. By the time he takes over, I've still got 8 months to get him set up and going, and I'm going to kind of give you my path to victory here, just sort of my plan going forward. By the time he takes over as figurehead, he is definitely going to be over enough. As of right now, week 3 of February, as far as the storylines I've got going on, I finally set off right around the time when he was about to hit, right before Wolf got his amazing babyface. I was just starting to set off that big J Cord Erin Andrews feud, and I was going to let that run in to the show in May. And I feel bad. I can't even remember what that one's called right off. Let's see. I know Malice in Wonderland is the January. Total Mayhem. Yeah, so that's TCW's WrestleMania for anybody that doesn't know. Total Mayhem is the big one. So what I was going to do, I had Erin Andrews win the King of Kings again, so that he would have his place in the match. And then I was going to I did let Jay Cord finally take the title. I gave Sammy Bach his first title run. So I let Jay Cord take the title off of Sammy at Malice in Wonderland, and that was going to lead up to Jay Cord and Andrews having their blow off at Total Mayhem. And of course, that is still going to happen, but now what's going to happen pretty quickly after that is Jay Cord and Wolf Hawkins are going to go into their feud. Whereas originally I wanted Jay to have the belt for a nice long, like, month, 2 months. You know, it just didn't work out that way because Wolf Hawkins got that attribute. I put him in as the figurehead. So we're going to throw him right in against Jay. We're going to put him over. We're going to put the belt on him. And then, you know, he can work with Jay for a while. Jay's a great worker. And then eventually he's going to move on into a feud against Greg Gage as well, because Greg's another amazing worker. Once he gets through those guys, I'm planning, you know, everything in this is fluid. Anything can change day to day. He might get hurt in the next show I put on. But if you look through these guys that I've got up here, as far as heels go, Gage and Cord are definitely getting feuds. Brett Starr's getting a feud. And then we can move right in here. We've got several guys. Eddie Chandler's in time decline. I don't know if he'll ever get a feud with... Well, actually, he just came out of a feud with Wolf. I did a bit of a syndicate breakup kind of thing. And, you know, beyond that, I got a ton of guys that Wolf can feud with. So, got all kinds of great plans going forward. Again, I do run this just sort of as a roster management. I'm not going to get too detailed into my stories. I'll, you know, just kind of by formula go through a lot of the TV shows and build toward the big things that I want to do. I'm just looking for good scores. I'm looking to get guys over. I'm looking to train guys up. And, you know, I'm not going to worry too much about the storyline. You know what I mean? I'll try to book towards it if I've got something cool going on, like the Syndicate breaking up. You know, I did have a pretty good build up for that. Had a couple of botched interferences by Doc Hammond, and then the rest of the Syndicate sort of turned and beat him up, and Wolf's just staring like, what are you guys doing? I've lost control. So, and then eventually Wolf turned on Eddie, and they feuded for a while, but that is over now. We've got a really good Indian wrestler here. I mean, obviously he's green. He's got a little bit of star quality. Let's see. Alright, so Brandon Smith is ready to wrestle. So I'm going to book into my Saturday show. And like I told you, this Saturday show is total garbage. It's just for older wrestlers to go up against younger wrestlers. And the more I've been thinking about it, it's getting really low ratings. And it's also seeing really small popularity gains. My guess is because of the low ratings. So I am thinking about making it a little bit more of a true B show, whereas right now it's more of like... Right now I'm using it the way that WWE used to run that Saturday morning Superstars or whatever it was, where it was just total trash. You would never tune into it. I think if I put some bigger stars over there, the ratings would probably go up, and then the popularity of my younger wrestlers would go up. The priority is getting them skilled in the ring, but I do want them to gain some popularity, at least get up into like the 40s and 50s, so they're not starting off from scratch when I bring them in. Alright, so just looking through, got some more hot property down here. Yoshinaka Taku. Yeah, that's not bad. Wonder how much he would... My roster's getting kind of bloated. I could get him cheap. At 29. I think usually when they get these news stories, it means they got a pretty good Destiny role. But, you know, my roster's already pretty full. I just added I've decimated the Australian scene. I promise you that. So we're going to go ahead and book this absolutely terrible Saturday night showcase. But then I'm going to get you into Tuesday night in the A show. So really all that I'm doing over here, we do have Logan Wolfsbane as our champion. So we're just going to run some tag matches here. Alright, so he's actually available, but he's already got good popularity down here. I'm not putting him into anything. We're going to let some of these old guys come in and tag against Wolfsbane and Ernest Youngman, who's also, I mean, Youngman's starting to get popular. He's already good in the ring. So this will be an alright main event. Oh, no, we don't want to do that. We want to add, sometimes if you get that thing, Dave Diamond has absolutely putrid stamina. If you do storytelling matches, though, and let's also set our winner here. If you do storytelling matches, a lot of times it'll reduce the stamina required, and see, we didn't get the note there. So there won't be any kind of stamina hit on that one. So Fonzarelli and Diamond against Wolfsbane and Youngman. We'll also have a little bit of an interview to hype that up ahead of time. So we will let these two guys go off their entertainment since they're a little bit lower in the overness. And these guys are more over, so that's what they'll be rated on. We'll let that go on for about 8 minutes. Alright. I do run a lot of tags, especially in non-events. So for TV, I run a ton of tags. A lot of 3 versus 3, 4 versus 4. I'm just trying to get guys on TV, get them popular, get them working, all that good stuff. Let's run a 1v1 here, see if we can get anything interesting. I'm going to put Brandon Smith on my other brand, so I don't want to use him at all. Let's see. Let's throw a one-man army out there. So when I get one of the veterans in that has a little bit of popularity, I like to have him fighting somebody that is a little bit lower. But still, Roderick Remus would be decent. He's over enough. This won't get a terrible rating. And we're actually going to let Remus go over. Let's see if one-man army complains about that. Yeah. Let's keep him strong. Alright, he's cool with that. So that'll be a good match, and then that'll also be the other angle that we run. We'll do like a modern TV opening for those guys. So now let's get... we're going to kind of do 2 big tags here. We're going to do fairly popular faces. And we can put Benny and the Flying Fox in there. They're a tag team. And we're going to put them against relatively unknown heels. That we want to push. Well, let's get Son of Vengeance in there. I really like a lot of these guys, to be quite honest. Son of Vengeance looks great. Dreadnought's getting a ton of hype. None of them are very popular yet, but they all look like they got very bright futures. So we'll do that. We'll put them in a wild brawl. TCW requires 1 storytelling and 1 wild brawl every time. So you got to make sure you get that in there, or else it's going to hurt your show. You're also supposed to have a couple storylines in, which I have not bothered on my B show, but it's not hurting popularity at all. So all I really would like to do is get the rating of this show up so that we can get more eyeballs on it and hopefully raise the workers' popularity. But this isn't affecting company popularity at all. We'll let Bart win this one. He just came back from injury, so give him a little bit to go on. And since I do have so many younger workers, when you got young workers and they're not experienced, you got to script those matches. So we're going to script it. It's going to be a wild brawl. Bart's going to win. We can cut down on the time a little bit since it is a wild brawl. The fans are going to get a little bit restless on that because they don't know all of the workers. But again, B show, don't have to worry too much about it. Let's throw... I am going to put in a 1v1 here because I am... Jeremy Courtney's contract is running out, and I really don't like him at all, and he has a little bit of popularity. So I'm jobbing him out big time on his way out the door to Will Beaumont, who is definitely the future of the company. By the time this guy's ready to take over, will be about the time that Wolf's headed out the door. So hopefully, ideally, Wolf can just pass the torch to Beaumont eventually, way on down the road. But that's the idea here. We can make this nice and short, because we're going to have Beaumont go over. He's going to dominate. And was there something else that I want? Oh, yeah, we want to script it. Because actually, neither of these guys really have any kind of psychology. And Jeremy Courtney. Wow, Jeremy Courtney didn't even throw a fit. I don't know if I've ever seen me book someone to be dominated and they don't throw a fit. Original Center, I've seen that name come across. I'm on the Grey Dog forums and the Discord and everything else, so I have seen Original Center's name come across. Let me look him up as soon as we run this show. My only issue is I got so many of these young guys that I really do like. They're really talented, they got good star quality, they've got tons of things, tons of upside, and I just have so many of them. I already have 65 wrestlers or something, and there's tons more out there. So alright, so this is going to be our young faces. Let's see, which ones do we like the most? We will put Elliot Thomas in there because he's got a little bit of popularity. Whitehead's got a little bit of popularity. And Mutant as well. And they will go against our more experienced heels. Ooh, we only really have two, don't we? Chris Flynn, Mark Speed. I guess Nick Booth is all right. I really don't like Nick Booth either, though. He's out the door as soon as his contract's over, and I think that's relatively soon. Who was that? Nicky Gilbert. Nicky Gilbert's really popular in Australia. We need to be building him up because he's a hell of a worker. So we'll go ahead and throw him in, and we'll actually let him win this match. So we still need to script it. We still got a lot of young guys. Let's see. That should work. All right, and we've still got 10 minutes left. So we're going to throw in the angle. Yeah, I think the same thing happens to everybody, man. That's the coolest part about this game is building up the young workers. I know the stories are interesting, but my favorite part is seeing the young workers and seeing them develop. Like, the coolest thing is jumping into that skills screen and clicking on somebody and watching how their skills have developed like 20 points or something over the course of a year. Let's throw out that modern TV opening, and we're running one-man army versus Roderick Remus. We'll go ahead and run it for 10 minutes, take up the whole show, and then I will add another pre-show tag. And actually, we're going to run it just as many people as we can get into it. Just to get them in the ring, you know, get them a little bit of experience. Oh, I need Kean Owens in there because he's another one that's pretty decent in Australia already. I told you I rated Raw. Do I want the architect? Or I think I always get down to basically the same people in these things. And I hate it because, like, I'd love to be pushing Xavi Ferrara and all of these guys that are down here, but you just run out of room. Let's just make sure. All right, it's got a bunch of people that thinks I'm using too much. But again, B show, we're just going to run it. This will be terrible. 33. The one thing I do is kind of scan through here for anybody that's standing out. Devilfish is putting on. I just signed Devilfish. This might be his second or third show with me, and that's a decent rating. Bret Heartbreak's also putting out decent ratings. He's only been here for a little while. Oh, Kean Owens debuted a bad gimmick. All right, so that was decent. For this show, this is 46 is decent. If it's in the 40s and 50s, that's very decent because a lot of it's in the 30s. But again, it's developmental. It is what it is. Mutant puts on good ones. If I can get these guys up into 50, once they're up into 50, then I'd feel good about bringing them over to the A show. And, you know, I'm not really that worried about this getting a terrible performance. All I really want's Will beating down Jeremy Courtney. Seeing if we can't get some of that popularity off of him. So we got 40 out of that. 42. Wow, that was not a good rating. And then the big match got a 53. So the show was terrible. Something in the 40s. I missed it. I didn't mean to click by it that quickly, but you can see I get tons of penalties because I use these guys too much. Well, you know, of course, they're lower carders. It's always going to say I used them too much. I'm not worried about that. I don't know if y'all can see, we got a little boyhood dream here going on. It's my favorite wrestling shirt. I still remember watching this match, the HBK Bret Hart Iron Man. It was like on pay-per-view back in the day, and I had it on like fuzzy TV. Like I didn't pay for it. Just you put it on a random channel and you could listen to the commentary. So it's one of my favorite matches. All right, looking through the news, don't see anything too big. They always feel badly let down with Saturday Night Showcase. I don't know what to tell them. It's intended to be a B show, and it only got less than 250,000 viewers. Not a surprise. That's not why we're here. Now, my last Tuesday Night Showcase, TCW Presents, is that what the Tuesday night show is called? Whatever it is on Tuesday. My last one actually was a disappointment. It only scored like a 76, and I was pushing 86, 88s, 89s for months. I think I had only been below 80 like 3 times in the past 3 or 4 months. And I decided, Froshore was actually out wrestling and outperforming Erin Andrews in a bunch of tag matches. So I figured I'd let Jay and Froshore have a little singles match for the title. Just a singles match because I do run a lot of tags in the main event. And so I put them in the main event, and turns out they have bad chemistry, and it tanked the match. So I had a great card. I had one of my, either my co-main or the one right before that was like an 89. And then my main event tanked. I somehow didn't have a strong angle either, and my show got like a 76, so that hurt. Let me go and check out real quick Original Center. Oh, I must have... Let's just reset this. Oh, yeah, I've definitely seen him before. He's currently unemployed. Definitely has a lot of potential. Look at that menace. Yeah, so I'm sure this guy eventually could be pretty good. I think he's usually in my... He's not in the top 5 in creative. He is if you start a new Fed, I believe. Because I think in my Road to Glory, I've got him on my roster. But I don't on here. I've got a lot of guys that are green. He's a little bit green even for me, but definitely a good worker and somebody to keep an eye on for the future. Maybe give him a couple years and throw him on the short list. Here's my short list in case you're curious. A couple of guys that I tended to have on older saves with good star quality, like Elion, El Medico Jr., Huracan, Casey Glenn, another one of the old Maw guys. I can't wait to get him back. And then just recently, I was looking around at the area battles because I was losing every month to USPW, but SWF had actually fallen to medium. Well, they just jumped back up to large, so now I'm going to be going at, I'm going to be third for the foreseeable future. But, let's see. Here's Nikki Champion, 5 months. Remo's 3 years. Rocky Golden, I think, is also... He's about 2 years. Steve Freely, 10 months. So within the year. And then Tommy is in 2 months. Now, Tommy's probably in time to climb, but can you imagine the matches he'll put on? And, I mean, his popularity, he'd be second. I think he'd be second on my list, so he wouldn't put me over by himself. If I bring in Nikki Champion, I'll pay whatever I got to get him. What's he getting right now? He's making $275 a month. I mean, I'd easily go up to 500,000. I'm definitely doing whatever I can to bring that guy in. So, hopefully putting the belt on Wolf Hawkins here in a couple months puts me over the top. But if it doesn't, I'm definitely going hard after Nikki Champion because this isn't working for me. He's just crushing me over here. Sammy's great. He stayed extremely... when I put the belt on him, he went from 80, 81 and jumped straight up to 90. And then, I did put Jay over him in a triple threat at Malice in Wonderland. And then the following TV show, I gave him his rematch just one-on-one and had Jay go over him. And I thought that would peel that popularity off. But it really didn't. Jay got a little bit more popular, and Sammy, for the most part, held on. So... let's go book a Tuesday night. Said Chip Martin's another prospect to keep an eye out on. Let me take a look at him before I book. Am I going into AM or PM? If I can look, I will real quick. Well, Deuce Deadline. Yeah, I knew I recognized him from Maw. That's another. Spencer Spade was a good one at Maw back in the day. Now he's with us, SWF. Where is Chip? I tried to talk Jay Bruce out of... Jay Bruce. Hold on. Jack Bruce. I tried to talk Jack Bruce out of retirement, and he wasn't having it. Yeah, look at the stamina on Chip Martin. That's great. athletic. Excuse me. Yeah, there's just tons of guys. Who do you sabotage? Who do you run in CVerse? What Fed are you running with? See, Family Friendly asked how I get the game full screen. That is an optical illusion. The miracle of broadcasting. This isn't actually full screen on my computer. It's still in the regular windowed version. All that I've done is on OBS for the broadcast, I've brought in the edges and sort of cropped around my TEW. So all you guys can see is the TEW screen, but I'm still getting the normal thing where I got my desktop in the background. So no trick there. Killer Shark entered the final month of his contract. I can't remember if I intend on re-signing him or not. He's recognizable. He's got a good deal of popularity. I don't have a whole lot of enjoyment booking him. He does have a ton of minutes. He's got some star quality. He can put on a decent match. I'll probably re-sign him. Probably. Let me think about it. I'll take that decision off air. Got a little bit of news. It's just about Killer Shark. Troy Tornado is no longer injured. All right. Let's go book a show. I need to make up for this terrible 78 that I had last time. So you can see here, main event bombed. I did let CV2 go against Erin Andrews and Wolf Hawkins. That was all right. What's still hurting that one is Cam Vesey isn't popular yet. And you know, with that, I just figured this wasn't the main event. I'm throwing him out there. The more those guys are involved with the popular wrestlers, the faster they're going to be seen on that level in the eyes of the fans. So I'm throwing Cam Vesey into big stuff. I'm not putting him in main events, but I am putting him into big matches with big guys to get him elevated in the eyes of the fans. Family Friendly asked, what's the benefit of having two different brands? I'll tell you why I did it in this save is because you could see how many tags I was running in that, and you'll see how many tags I do here on my Tuesday night show, and I was still having a dozen guys not on TV every time. So what that is really to do is to make sure, especially the young guys that aren't popular yet, are the ones that were getting left off of a ton of shows. And that's not what I want at all. I want the young guys wrestling more than the other ones, because their bodies can handle it and because they need to develop those skills. So I put it on that other brand. Now, there's a couple of different ways it can go. The way I've got it set up right now is that other show is a B show. So a B show, the workers can get better skilled. The workers can also gain and lose popularity. But a B show does not affect your Fed's popularity. So that last show that I ran was like a 42, but that didn't affect TCW's popularity in any way. So that's one benefit to it, is you get those guys out there and get them working, get them wrestling, get them a little bit of popularity. Now, if I put some stars over there and actually bring in some eyeballs, that could, if you've got more people watching, I could be getting more broadcast revenue off of that because I've got it on my own network. So I am thinking about moving a couple of the stars over. Like I'm thinking about moving Mainstream Hernandez, maybe Rick Law, Freddie Huggins, Frankie Boy Hernandez rather. I'm thinking about taking over like some of those guys at that star to well-known level and let them get some good ratings and see if we can't boost that show a little bit. That way we get more eyeballs on it. The more people watching, the more it's going to affect the popularity of the young guys we're trying to get over, and we're going to bring in more revenue. Yeah, that's basically all it is for me right now, is a feeder show. I'm going to try to turn it probably, I haven't 100% committed, but I'm probably going to try to turn it into a little bit more of a SmackDown, a true B show, whereas right now it's more of a throwaway, like, Saturday Morning Superstars or Sunday Night Heat or something like that. So, all right, back to Booking Tuesday. We don't have any backstage issues. Our only absent workers, Yuri Yoshihara has been out injured. This guy broke his neck or tore something up. I think he broke his neck like the first week of this save. So he's been out for a long time. And then Matthew Keith's contract hasn't begun. All right, take a look at what we did last time. Obviously, CV2 and having Cam Vesey, he still got a little bit more popular before we main event him too awfully much. So I think what we want to do, have a big bounce back here. First of all, let's get our location. It always puts you in the Mid-South here, and I don't necessarily mind that, but having the pre-show guys get a little bit more popular, so I like to move it around and let them be seen, because I do still have some pre-show guys. We can run this here, Akron, Ohio, 15,000. We're expecting 14. My wrestling industry, you can see here, is at 50. So we might not quite get 14, but we'll get more than 10. It'll be worth it. All right. So again, not too many stories. We just want a real rating. So we're going Sammy Bach, Wolf Hawkins. So right now, Sammy's not actually in a feud. Sammy's still feuding with Greg Gage. And Wolf, I can look this up. Is he feuding? He's the one not in a feud? Sammy and Greg Gage, Jay Erin Andrews. I got the Fro Lane. Frosure and Jaffe Lane have great chemistry together, so I threw them in a tag team. They're going against the Elite, and this is mostly so that Jaffe Lane can pin Eddie Chandler over and over and pull some of that popularity off. Eddie Chandler is on time decline. Jaffe Lane is getting tons of good remarks from like other wrestlers and stories and stuff. All right, so yeah, I put him against Casey Valentine. All right, so let's just run Sammy Bach and Erin Andrews against Greg Gage and Jay Cord. So that's going to be our main. Let it go 20 minutes. Jay's the champ, and Jay's got his his gimmick really hurts if he loses. So I have him win a lot. Jay Cord wins a lot. Plus, I really like Jay Cord. It's always been one of the workers I enjoy. We're going to let him slow build that. Everything else is good. Robert Oxford is our best road agent, so we're going to let him handle that. Book it. All right, so we've also got Wolf and Casey Valentine going at each other. Let's do this one a 3v3. Put Wolf, and let's let him... We can have a little callback to the Syndicate here. So we can go Wolf with Fro Lane. And then we can have Casey Valentine and Cam Bessie with their old buddy Eddie Chandler. Well, with Wolf's old buddy Eddie Chandler. And how do we want to handle this one? We're actually going to let Cam Bessie go over. I would like to get Jaffe Lane over, but we're going to have Cam go over in this one because he's obviously more important. And we'll let Jaffe eat the pin. I still like Ray Johnson refereeing. Ray's a better referee, so I let him do these later matches generally. Alright, let's throw out some kind of 1v1. Oh, let's get Brandon Smith. His debut. And let's put him over Joshua Taylor, who I do not care for. I know a lot of people, that's probably losing me viewers as we speak, because I know so many people love Joshua Taylor. I don't know if he got a bad destiny role or what. I know he's in time decline. I just have not at all cared for Joshua Taylor in this save. Now, what both these guys can do is brawl. So we are going to let them go at each other. Brandon Smith's going to win. It's going to be a wild brawl. And that's going to work for me. Let's throw out another tag. Let's see. Let's get our actual tag team going here. Well, Divine Fortune. They can go against Frankie Boy and Freddie. And we will put the tag team championship on the line. But we're gonna let Divine Fortune hold on to it. Freddie and Frankie, I might tag them. I don't know. Both of them are really good heels, really good upper mid card kind of guys. But I don't know if I want to make a tag team out of them or not. You know what I mean? Like, some guys I like them to be able to be off in their own storyline, doing their own thing. So I haven't made them a team yet. it may still end up at that point. We still got a ton of guys we got to get on this show. See, this is what I'm talking about. This is why I made that other show. Like Ed Stone, Mainstream Hernandez, Rick Law, T-Bone Bright are all still huge names. I've still got some huge names over here as well. Oh, what do we want to do? I think that we've gone through most of our big tag teams. Let's see here. Rick Law and Brett Starr. Maybe they can just argue with each other for a little bit, because both of them can put on a pretty good promo. Let's just have them fight. How about that? We'll fight in the backstage. Let's book that. Let's move it up here. Perfect. All right, so we at least got them on the show. And now, let's do another. What did I book earlier? So I've actually, when I lost Eddie Peak, I put Des Davids in charge of the Center Society. So I do like running 3-on-3s with him. And we can run that against Hernandez, Ed Stone, and T-Bone Bright. And we're going to let them go over, because as much as I do like Des Davids, I do not care for Killer Shark or Titan. And we'll let this be. Let's see who's going to go over. Let's let T-Bone Bright go over. I've tried to push Mainstream Hernandez. His popularity is being kind of stubborn. T-Bone Bright, on the other hand, keeps on gaining, so I'm going to let him win. I don't think we've got a storytelling in this yet, so we're going to add it. We're going to make sure it's open, because we do have a little bit of variance in the levels on these guys. Alright, so we must have our storytelling and everything in. Still need to book 16 minutes. So, hold on. Who do we not have in yet? Yeah. Let's let... I am trying to push Matt Hawking a little bit, so let's let him go over Doc Hammond. So Matt Hawking's still a real good worker, not in Time Decline or anything like that. Let's keep it short. Put Matt over. We'll keep it open, because I do believe they're also on different levels. Book it. And then let's get our big angle, which is definitely just going to be our main event guys yelling at each other. They're our most popular guys. They're going to get huge ratings on this. Let's keep it at 10 minutes. Alright, now what's it say? Ray Johnson has a little bit too much refereeing to do. Alright. How's that? Perfect. Alright, so we're still not using Duke Freeman, Nate Johnson, Troy Tornado. Let's throw him in a pre-match triple threat. What do you say? Dean Daniels can wrestle, but I mean, he's one of our road agents. I don't have him wrestle all that often. This guy's a rookie. We can let these guys teach him a little bit of something and script it, and we'll let Troy go over. Because I also don't care for Nate Johnson. I'm probably going to let him walk. Did I give Ray Johnson that too? If one of the referees is going to be overworked, I'd rather it be Charles. But we look good to go. One last look here. We're good. No penalties. No penalties up here in our angle to match ratio. So let's start this show. All right, so there's the pre-show, and obviously we're not expecting much there. So, got to make a big comeback. Last show was a 78. That was terrible. We need to be gaining popularity, because we're definitely going to lose area battles. So, let's hope this starts out with a big angle right off the bat. 99. Perfect. 99 and 100 is what I'm looking for out of these guys. So, everybody did pretty well. Greg Gage struggled going off script. You know, these notes go back and forth. Just because you get this once, I've also got it that Erin Andrews or Sammy Bach didn't do well going off script. It's a little bit random. I don't know if it's based on the consistency rating or not, but all these guys can go. I'm not worried about anything that happened here. 99, perfect. Sets up our main event. And we've already booked it, so we don't need to do anything here. Alright, so Matt Hocking goes over Doc Hammond. You see Matt got a nice rating there, perfectly acceptable for our mid-card, and you can see Doc has lost it at this point, so no worries jobbing him out. So here's our 73, and again, this is fairly early in the card. These are all great. Well, we got 4 out of the 6 I really like, and that tag team between Killer Shark and Titan has a lot of experience. So you can see down here the match ratings. Ed Stone was great. T-Bone Bright was great. Mainstream Hernandez was great. Des Davids was okay. And then, you can see why I'm not big on Killer Shark and Titan, whatever. T-Bone Bright and Deanna Desire with that pretty good chemistry. So Divine Fortune versus Frankie Boy and Freddie almost pulled a 70, and you can see Freddie and Frankie Boy pulling all the ratings out of that. These guys, I don't care for them much either. I'd put them on the other show, but I just wouldn't have anybody left to be tag champs over here. Maybe I do need to put it on. Maybe I do need to make Frankie Boy and Freddie a tag team. We'll see. I'm thinking about it. There we go. Debuted a new spot that got great heel heat. His psychology will be helped. Perfect. Love seeing those notes. That's a good thing. Alright, so Bulldozer Brandon Smith's debut pulled in a 74, which is excellent. Very good on his gimmick. They actually have great chemistry, so that's cool. Might want to maybe put them into a storyline together to take benefit of that, But our mid-card's getting great ratings. Here's our segment where Brett Starr and Rick Law just go at it in the backstage. That pulled a 82. Not wonderful, but very solid. Alright, our nice triple threat here. And again, like Wolf Hawkins is so clearly the star of TCW. I couldn't be happier that he got that amazing babyface trait. Couldn't be happier for him to be the figurehead of TCW. I'm just excited to actually get the title over to him. I didn't want to sell Sammy short. I had to give him a little bit of a run with the belt. I don't want to sell Jay short. I am going to let him go over Andrews at Total Mayhem. But I do think Wolf will probably get the belt in June or July. So Jay will get a nice 6-month run, but eventually Wolf's going to get it, and he's going to hold it for as long as he can stay healthy, pretty much. So yeah, you can see Wolf killed it. You can also see Froschur looked great. He out-wrestled everybody else. He out-wrestled Eddie Chandler. Eddie can get into the 70s here and there. Cam Bessie will eventually get there. He's just being held back by his low popularity in the States. And then Casey Valentine put up almost a 70. Good enough for me. All right, so I believe next up is the main event. Let's see how we do. 94. Beautiful. This show's going to get us right back on track. Sammy Bach has been killing it over and over. He's putting up 90s. Jay Cord with a big 92. Greg Gage. These guys are all so consistent. Erin Andrews, honestly, is the one I'm most disappointed in this whole save. Out of everybody that's at the top, I value everybody in this match and Wolf Hawkins more than Erin Andrews at this point. I know that Andrews is supposed to really be the baby face of TCW, but I don't know if he got a bad Destiny role or what. He's been underwhelming in this save. He can put on main event stuff, but he's more like borderline of the upper mid card. So that's a shame. I don't know. He just hasn't put on great matches, and that is what it is. So let's finish it off. And that was a 90. Woo-hoo-hoo. What a show. Throwing up the 90. A 94 helps a lot. I cannot lie. That's pretty high, even for these guys. They're usually in the high 80s. 94 is really good. And, of course, with the 99 on the angle, TCW gets judged. I think it's the traditional on the matches, so 70% of it is in the main event, 20% in the co-main, and then 10% is the average of the rest. And then as far as angles go, I think it's tight focus. So it's mostly going to focus on the best angle, which is 90% of the score, and then the second angle, and everything else is only 10% of it. So sometimes I do run 3 angles, but 2 is fine as long as one of them's, as long as they're both, You can't have two 6-minute angles. That would be too short. You see, we did get 14,000 people out. So 78 on the last show, bounced back with a nice strong 90. Increased popularity in 56 regions, which is every region. You know, I've gotten pretty used to how many regions, like, it increases and decreases, and I can tell where everything's going on. This is every region we're being shown in, so we increased everywhere. That's wonderful for us. So let's finish off the show. And then let's come out and check out how we did, finance-wise. If y'all haven't seen 2020 yet, this is really cool where the loading screen actually gives you skills of the guys it's showing you. So actually the two guys that I just hired from Raw from Australia, I found out about them from that screen. So that's really cool to me. So you can see here, we put up the 90, pulled a, is that a 5 point, oh no. Pulled a 6.01 on TV. So almost, you know, we're getting up there close to 1 in Canada. We're very popular in Canada, and then a 5.19 here in the States. You can also see SWF ran last night. They posted at 82, so not bad. I don't think it's going to gain in popularity, but it's not going to lose anything. Can't wait to go in and try to steal some more of their guys. You know, I've hurt SWF's upper mid card. I took Mainstream Hernandez, Des Davids, Rick Law, and then I think even Brandon Smith. I can't remember if he was USPW or SWF. But let's take a look at the finances real quick. See how we did here. You can see we've gained almost $4 million this month. Broadcast revenue, we're at about 3.2. So that's with all of our weekly shows done, except for this next Saturday show. So we're going to be basically in line with what happened last month. So, you know, we've already made $4 million and we haven't hit our pay-per-view yet. So I know we'll get hit with some tax and miscellaneous stuff, but I mean, you can see what our pay-per-view did last month and see what our taxes and everything did. So we're probably in line to make another $5 or $6 million this month. And you can see how much, you know, I've almost, if it went back another month, you'd see I've come pretty close to doubling the what I'm spending on workers. So it's nice that we're still making a good chunk of money. That's going to give us the ability to go and really have a bidding war for Nikki Champion here in a couple of months. Let's see. J-Rod with the good deed. Little donation. CWA extension. This is the other way I keep picking off workers. Anybody not on my short list, anytime somebody's getting an extension, I check it out, see what's happening. So, I mean, he's all right in Canada. Looks like a good worker. Not a whole lot of star quality. Ooh, was he only 21? Yeah. So see, man, another one. Sabotage here's another one that looks all right. I mean, he's only a 50 in Canada, but he's only 21 years old, and he's already a 50. So that's obviously a dude that can get there. He's got some charisma. He's got some flashiness. Man, I put him in some flashy matches. That would be good. His psychology is hurting, though. Let's see. That's just our rating and our drug fees. We're good there. Not worried about anything. Let me go in and show you before we wrap it up here. Just show you where the workers are at. Here's Erin Andrews. You can see he's a little bit below 80s across everything in America. He starts off the game around like 85 or 86 when he's got the belt. When he loses it, he drops those 5 or 6 points and really just set in right around this area. So you can see Brandon Smith getting close to the 70s. Valentine is in the 70s. Who else are we looking for? Des David's still in the mid-60s, which, I mean, he's holding down the upper mid-card. He's doing all right. Ed Stone, I've pushed up right up to the 70s. Eddie Chandler holding on to that popularity. That's why I'm trying to find ways to job this guy out, and he just stays popular. So, you know, great if you can get it, I suppose. Look, he's still got the great psychology. Who else are we looking for here? Froshore is getting real close to the 70s, and this is what I was saying. You got Erin Andrews up there at 80s. Froshore hasn't even hit 70s yet, and this dude is getting better match ratings than Erin Andrews all the time. So it would not surprise me, especially since I'm a Froshore guy. Won't surprise me at all if I end up having Froshore higher up the card than Erin Andrews in this save. And again, that's just this save. Could be Destiny rolls, never know. Check out Greg Gage. He's up in the 80s. It varies a little bit across the states. He's as high as a 83, down to a 78 in other places. This guy, did I push him? Yes. I didn't push him over main event talent, though. The dude just puts on matches. You can't hold him down. Brett Starr holding steady up there in the high 70s. Jay Cord, look, he's much higher in the Great Lakes. But, he's 82, 83, 84. So he's doing just fine. Joffe Lane, I'm trying to get him up. If I could get him up to the 60s, man. Look at the charisma. Look at the microphone. Look at the acting. Dude can put on some great promos if I get that popularity up. So that's why I'm trying to push him up over Eddie Chandler. Mainstream Hernandez is holding in that mid-60s range. And like I said, I had him win a lot of matches, and he's not moving up too much. So that might be about as high as I get him, unless I'm wanting to put him, strap the rocket on, which I don't intend to do at all. I like the guy, but I don't like him that much. You know what I mean? Matthew Keith, again, I just brought him in. I'm thinking about throwing him over on that B show and letting him just gain popularity through working matches. Hopefully that'll work out, because he's a great worker. I'd love to have him, especially as another babyface that could jump up into that upper mid. Love to have that. One-man army. Primetime Jack. This is a dude that's going to get pushed in the long term. He's got the star quality. He can definitely put on some matches. Yeah, those are big pay-per-view numbers. Getting huge pay-per-view buys. But the nice thing is I'm on my own network, and it's very big in the States. And then I will show you the network before I get out of here. Let me bounce through these last couple of guys. Sammy Bach, like I told you, he just can't lose popularity. When you keep putting on matches the way that he is, not really a surprise. T-Bone Bright, he's moving up there, and he's putting on great matches at a relatively low popularity. So the further we get him up, this is another guy. When I'm done having Joffe Lane pin Eddie Chandler as many times as possible, it might be T-Bone Bright's turn. But he definitely needs to get into a program with somebody, get that popularity up, keep that momentum going. Will Beaumont, he's in those low 20s. Over there on that B show, nobody's really seeing him. Wolf Hawkins, about as popular as Jay Cord, and he doesn't have the belt. So when he takes the belt, starts going over people, I think that's going to shoot up. Here is, let's see, let's check out my broadcaster. If we look at the investments, we can go to upgrade and see. So you can see I'm very big in the US and then very small everywhere else. I probably will go ahead and increase all of these pretty soon. I've got the money to do it. I may wait until I see how much it costs to bring in Nicky Champion, because I'm telling you, I'm bringing him in. USPW, unless they're paying him a couple million a month, they're not going to outbid me. I'm going to go hard after him. And one last thing, my size. So TCW, you can see here, 82 all the way across the US. Pretty close to that in Canada as well, so pretty big. Then Mexico, we just got into Mexico and the rest of these places long after. We were in the U.S. and then Canada long before anywhere else. So Mexico's getting there, and then everywhere else is going to be in those low 20s. Oceania, I don't know why that one's so much lower when it has the same coverage, but that is unfortunately the case. Trying to see, right. If we come out here, I think... Yeah, so you can see in the entire world, USPW is still the largest. They're on Reverie. That's huge everywhere. They're getting a ton of popularity. SWF, I'm ahead of them. Let's see, am I ahead of them in Canada? Oh, I'm actually number 1 in Canada now. Nice. But what I was going to show y'all is the US. TCW is the number 1 company in the US. So we got the US and Canada locked down. We're still growing everywhere else because we just recently upgraded our network everywhere else. So SWF, that's the only reason. I think SWF, if we look, is probably beating us pretty badly in Mexico, and I think that that's the only place they're really down. Yeah, see, they're just as big in Mexico as anywhere else. Oh, British Isles. They're beating us in British Isles, and they're still a little bit ahead of us everywhere, actually, except for the U.S. and Canada. We're about 4 points ahead of them across the board there. So if we could just get Mexico up anywhere near where they are, I think we would overtake SWF and move into number 2 in the world. And then it's just, a slow march and a slow slog to try to overtake USPW, guys. But I hope y'all enjoyed the stream. This is the first time I've been bringing y'all TEW 2020. There are a couple of YouTube videos out. Go check out the GM Games YouTube channel and see the other TEW videos that I've got out. We'll be putting up more videos on the YouTube channel. We're also going to stream more often. I'm going to bring a lot of Draft Day Sports College Basketball on this stream, but we're going to hit TEW probably once or twice a week, so make sure that you come back and check it out. We'll book a couple more shows, and before you know it, Total Mayhem's going to be here, and hopefully we put on a crazy Total Mayhem. But I really appreciate you guys stopping by. Send me a shout out. Let's see what we got. Anything going on in chat? No, we didn't get frustrated with college basketball, man. I know there's a ton of people out there that love TEW. We wanted to bring them some content, so mixing it up a little bit. So yeah, I'm really glad y'all stopped by. Make sure that you're following us so that you get notification. Come back, check us out next time. If you want to check out some college basketball, we got that going on both on Twitch. We got the videos up on YouTube. Stop by the GM Games website. See what we've got. We got some forums. If y'all got any questions, reach out to me. If it wasn't on this chat, I know this will be up on YouTube, and you can get me on the forums. Get me anywhere, guys, if you've got questions, recommendations. I know Sabotage jumped in with a couple of his big prospects, and they're looking good. I just got such a roster full of those prospects. You can only go on about 20 projects at a time, so definitely looking to bring some more of them in eventually. Going to put them out there on the radar. But make sure you guys stop by again. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see y'all next time.